Hi, I'm Silas from KathyMayandSilas.com, and this is the condensed version of the second video of the creation of the 3D printed MGH necklace charm for Kathy May, where I show how I construct the 3D model in 123D Design. The screen capture is played at 4 times speed. I start by importing the SVG sketch for both the shield and the text for the front. The text was saved scaled up to avoid distortion, and so I scale it back down to the size I need. I extrude the shield at 4 mm, then shell the solid with a 0.4 mm thickness. Then extrude the shield up again 3.5 mm and merge with the shell. I'll select the text and extrude it up 3.8 mm so that it will protrude from the surface by 0.3 mm, which is the minimum height for embossed detail as specified by Shapeways. Then I move it to where the shield is and merge them. Now delete the text. Now for the second side, I'll flip over the finished model to show what it looks like. I'll import the SVG of the shield and text for this side. I scale the text back down. Now I take the shield and move it up and extrude it 4 mm and shell the solid with a 0.4 mm thickness. Then extrude the shield up again 3.5 mm, not subtract but merge. The books in the logo are represented by rectangles that will be 4 by 3 mm, 4 by 3 mm, and 5.5 by 3 mm. I extrude these up 3.8 mm, keeping them separate. I then extrude the text 4 mm, also keeping them separate. The exact height doesn't matter because they will be subtracted from the blocks. Then I center each group of text in the respective block with the Align tool, one set at a time. Then subtract the text from each block. Then I align the top two blocks and move them apart with a separation of 0.4 mm in between. Then merge them so that they move together. Next I move the text into the shield and center everything, again with the Align tool. Then I move to a face-on view and adjust the vertical positioning of the text until it looks good. Move it to where I think I want it. There we go. Now everything gets merged together. Now I hide the solids and delete the sketches that I don't need anymore. Then I use the Snap tool to snap the inside faces of the charm together and align them. Then merge the two halves together. Now I'll turn the finished model back over. Now I'll move on to the roof of the ether dome. I already measured the dimensions from the logo and scaled them so that the width of the base of the roof will be 10 mm, the same as the shield. This bottom triangle is 10 mm across and 1.6 mm high, and I sketched the two halves and removed this middle line. I extrude this 8 mm to match the thickness of the charm. Next, the rectangle is 2.0 mm tall by 5.2 mm wide, and extrude this to 5.2 mm. The dome has a bottom radius of 2.0 mm, a height of 0.9 mm, and a top radius of 0.6 mm. Then I draw a spline, adjust it, and trim the extra segment. I revolve this around 360 degrees to create the dome. The top cupola has a radius of 0.6 mm and a height of 1.1 mm. Add a spline, adjust it, and trim it. Then revolve just like with the dome. Now I use the Snap tool to snap the block to the shield, then the pitched roof to the shield, then the dome to the block, and then the cupola to the dome. Now merge all the parts together, and then delete the sketches. There's the ether dome on the shield. Finally, I need to cut a cylinder out for the necklace chain and engrave some lettering inside. I want to position the cylinder such that the bottom half of the charm will be heavier than the top half so that it will hang upright from the necklace. So I sketch a rectangle that I will use to divide the solid in two, rotate it up, then position it to where I think the cylinder should be centered. So then I'll move the finished model out of the way. This cube that I'm inserting is to prevent an intermittent issue that I had with volume measurements not working. Now I extrude the rectangle on one side to subtract that from the solid and measure the volume of this half, then undo, subtract the other side, measure the volume, and I'll make sure that the bottom half is larger than the top so that it will be weighted properly. Now undo, and move on to creating the cylinder. Sketch a circle with 5mm diameter, rotate it up to face the charm, line it up to where the plane was from before, and then delete that rectangle which I no longer need. Then I'll extrude the circle and subtract the cylinder from the charm. Finally, I'll create the text that will be engraved inside the cylinder. So I'll rotate the text into the proper orientation. Then I'll extrude the text and move the text over and center it horizontally and vertically with the charm using the Align tool. There we go. And now I can delete the original text. Now move the extruded text into the opening, and here's where an orthographic view and showing only outlines is very helpful. I want to make the engraved text 0.3mm deep at the shallowest, so I line up the text and then move it 0.3mm into the solid. Now I can turn the material shading back on to hide some of the outlines and subtract the text from the charm. I can just check to make sure that the alignment is correct, and there you have it, the completed charm. I'll remove the original finished charm, and the last step is to export to an STL file. Now I go on to Shapeways and upload the STL file. Wait for their servers to process the file, and it will show a preview. At this point, I'll place an order to have the charm printed in silver, and wait for them to check it, print it, cast it, and ship it. See the result, as well as many of our other adventures, on our blog at kathymayandsilas.com. Thank you for watching, and until next time.